Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a deal between OpenAI and AMD that is just massive. It's so big and so cleverly put together that it could honestly change the entire game for who powers artificial intelligence. And it all really starts with this one kind of wild question. How does a company that spends billions upon billions on computer chips potentially get the most important hardware they need for practically free? Yeah, that's the puzzle at the core of this whole thing. Okay, let's dive in. So, first things first, the absolute basics. What exactly are we talking about here? Okay, here's the headline. OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT, has locked in a deal to buy and use a staggering 6 gigawatts worth of AI chips from AMD. This isn't a one-time purchase. It's a multi-year plan to build out an AI infrastructure on a scale that is just mind-boggling. But, it's not just the size of the deal that has everyone talking. It's the way they're paying for it, or not paying for it. That's where this gets really, really interesting. So this number is right at the heart of it all, $160 million. As part of this whole arrangement, AMD has given OpenAI the right to get up to 160 million of its shares. That could work out to be something like 10% of the entire company. But how? How does that work? Well, the key is this little thing called a warrant. Now, it's super important to get this right. This is not a gift. It's not free stock. It's a contract that gives OpenAI the option, the right, but not the obligation, to buy AMD shares at a super, super low price. But, and this is the big but, only if they deliver on their end of the bargain. And this breaks it down perfectly. So step one, OpenAI has to actually buy and use AMD's chips, a lot of them. As they hit these big milestones, like, say, getting that first gigawatt of hardware up and running, a chunk of that warrant becomes active, it vests. And only then can OpenAI pull the trigger and buy those shares for, get this, a penny a pop. Here's a really great way to wrap your head around it. Imagine AMD is a huge concert venue. They go to a tour promoter, OpenAI, and say, look, if you can guarantee that you sell out this entire massive tour, every single seat in every city, we will give you the option to buy 10% of our entire company for basically nothing. It's a huge incentive for the promoter to succeed, and the venue gets a guaranteed blockbuster. Everybody wins. I mean, this whole structure is so out there that even the CEO of AMD's biggest competitor, Nvidia, went on the record calling it imaginative and unique. You know you've done something pretty brilliant when your number one rival is complementing your strategy. So we get the how, but that just brings up an even bigger question, right? Why? Why do they need to do all this in the first place? I mean, really, why on earth does any company need this much computing power? Well, it turns out the hunger of modern AI is just unlike anything we have ever seen before in the history of tech. It really boils down to three big things. First, just training the next generation of AI models takes an absolutely astronomical amount of power. Second, actually running services like ChatGPT for millions, maybe billions of people every day, that's called inference, is just as power hungry. And third, from a business standpoint, relying on just one company, like Nvidia, for all your chips is a huge, huge risk. This deal is also about not putting all your eggs in one basket. Let's just come back to this number again for a second, because it's hard to grasp. 6 gigawatts. It's just a number, it's abstract. What does that actually look like in the real world? So a 6 gigawatt data center, that's not one big building. No. It's a sprawling AI factory spread across multiple giant campuses, running millions of GPUs all at once. And to put the energy use into perspective, 6 gigawatts is enough electricity to power a small country. It's the kind of output you'd get from several nuclear power plants, all of it dedicated to one thing, running AI. So when you make a move this big, it doesn't just help you out. It sends shockwaves, real tremors, through the entire industry. So what's the win for OpenAI? Well, they get a guaranteed pipeline of the most critical chips on the planet in a market where they're incredibly hard to get. It gives them huge leverage when negotiating prices with competitors. And if AMD does well and its stock price goes up, that warrant becomes insanely valuable, basically meaning AMD's own success helps pay for OpenAI's computers. And for AMD, this is a home run. They lock in one of the biggest, most important customers in the world for years. They get to work hand in hand with the world's leading AI lab, which helps them build even better chips down the line. And maybe most importantly, it gives them a massive shot of credibility. It proves they can play in the big leagues right alongside Nvidia. And this table just lays out the new reality perfectly. For years, Nvidia has been the undisputed king of this market. We're talking 90% plus market share. Now, for the first time, they face a serious, large-scale challenge. And AMD, who has always been a distant number two, is suddenly a critical anchor partner to the biggest name in AI. This really cements them as a true competitor. But look, a deal this big, this ambitious, it is anything but a sure thing. There are some serious hurdles that both of these companies have to clear. You can really break the risks down into three buckets. For AMD, it's all about execution. Can they actually manufacture and deliver millions of these incredibly complex chips on time? For OpenAI, it's about deployment. Building data centers at this scale and finding enough power for them is a monumental challenge. And for both of them, there's market risk. What if this explosive demand for AI just kind of cools off? So here's the timeline to keep in your head. The deal was announced in late 2025. The first really big milestone we're all watching for is the second half of 2026. That's when that first gigawatt of AMD's next-gen chips is supposed to be up and running. From there, it's a long multi-year ramp-up all the way through 2030 to hit that final 6 gigawatt target. Which kind of leaves us with this one big lingering question. For years, one company has had a virtual monopoly on the hardware that runs the AI revolution. This deal? Well, it's the most serious challenge to that monopoly we've ever seen. It's a huge, creative, and, risky bet that could either fall flat or completely redraw the map of the entire tech industry. We are definitely going to be watching.